Hello, everybody, and welcome to another GoIndieNow live panel discussion show, our last 2017. And what an awesome show to end on for this year. We're going to be talking all about 2018 and what we're doing to bring in the new year and what type of planning we've all put together, and kind of maybe give some insight into how we set up our next year and the years to follow. And I have, like I mentioned before, the all-star panel with me today, and I'm super excited to have them. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Joe Compton, and let me just go down the line and have everybody introduce themselves, and we'll get right into the discussion. So I'm going to go from my right all the way to the end there, and so Mickey, you're the first one. So tell everybody who you are and say hello.
Sure. Thanks, Joe. My name is Mickey Mikkelson. I'm a publicist with a company called Creative Edge out of Canada. Basically represents Canadian, U.S., international authors with all kinds of media coverage. And I know everybody on this panel today, and I'm really privileged to be here because everyone on here is awesome.
Thank you, sir. And I would include yourself in that statement for sure. All right, Kristina.
Hi, guys. I'm Kristina Rienzi. I'm a suspense author as well as president of Sisters in Crime Central New Jersey, which you'll hear me talking about a little bit. And I'm just grateful to be here. And again, same as Mickey, just really excited about everybody on the panel and privileged to be here. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. I really appreciate you coming and joining us tonight. All right, Josh.
Hey, everybody. My name is Joshua Robertson. I am an award-winning fantasy author, and I am also the co-owner of RollCraft, a small company that my brother and I run to provide tabletop gaming and resources. It's more of kind of a hobby for us, but we have a lot of fun with it. And like everyone else, I'm excited to be here. I got my pen and pad out, so I'm ready to take notes.
Nice. Make sure I get a copy of those, sir. All right, Heidi.
Hello, everybody. I am Heidi Angell, and I am the Executive Publishing Director for Our Right Side. I am also an indie author, and I'm really excited to talk about all the exciting things that are happening next year.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear about it because Our Right Side, it's really happening right now, so it's awesome. And, of course, Heidi's always happening, so that's always a great thing to talk about as well. All right, Christie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christie Stratos. I'm the author of the Dark Victoriana collection, which is psychological suspense, 2 books in it so far, Anatomy of a Darkened Heart and Lock and Key. More to come, definitely. And I'm also the owner of my editing company, Proof Positive, as well as the host of The Writer's Edge. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm real excited to have everybody here. So I'm going to start off very simply with a very simple question. How was everybody's 2017? Well, did it live up to your expectations? Did you guys meet the goals that you set for yourselves? How did everybody's 2017 go? And whoever wants to talk, go for it.
In some ways, it was amazing. I got to join Our Right Side back in July. In other ways, it kind of took turns that were not expected. And yeah, I'm ready for 2018 to be better than 2017.
Nice. All right, guys, don't all jump at once. Come on now.
Joe, I think for Creative Edge, it's been a year of learning, but within that learning, there's been a lot of key successes as well. My company ran initial focus starting only with indie authors, self-published mostly, but then midway through the year, and actually maybe even about February, March, we started signing some more traditionally published authors as well, that are published with top 5, like big 5s. So we're able to leverage a lot of mainstream media on top of all the other independent media as well. So from that aspect, I would say it was a huge success, and we've grown exponentially compared to what my vision was. There's just been a little bit of hiccups in terms of where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do, but that's all set now. So 2018 should be a blast.
Okay, I'm going to jump right in there. 2017 was definitely a great year for me. It was my first year as president of Sisters in Crime, Central New Jersey. And so it was a learning curve, but I tend to jump in with, full force into anything I do. So it sort of took me by surprise how much work it was. And it was a very rewarding year, but some of my writing got put on the back burner. And so I didn't complete as much as I would have liked to complete, but I had to pick my battles. And this was a year for me to grow our chapter, which I did, and as well as just get my bearings. And so I think I've been reelected as president for next year as well. And really looking forward to that. But I think, we'll talk about this as we talk about our planning. It is important for me to focus on my writing as well in 2018, because that's something that I've missed doing so regularly, because Sisters in Crime really was important to me, but it did take up a lot of my time. So I'm hoping that I can get a little bit more of a balance in 2018, but 2017 was a great year for me.
I guess I'll go next, and I'm probably going to echo a lot of what Kristina is saying, because I've seen the same thing in my own year, that writing very much took a back burner. I didn't get as much written as I wanted to do, because this was my first full year writing full-time. That's funny. It was my first full year writing full-time, and I did less writing than I usually do, just because I was out doing cons and doing marketing, and it took a lot more footwork in terms of getting things off the ground and keeping the momentum than what I thought it was going to do. So going into next year, I'm hoping to find a better balance there and be able to write as much as I'm out working and, as I hear other writers say, slinging paper. And then, of course, I started a couple new projects like RollCraft, which also took away from writing time. And so JC and I are talking pretty heavily about how we look at that, balancing getting that material out for gamers as well.
Yeah, and it was a good year for me. I would say with the writing, I had finally put out Lock and Key, which I had wanted to do last year. That was it was wonderful. It was a struggle because it changed so much while I wrote it, and I know I've talked about that a lot, so I won't go into too many details. But I was finally able to publish it, which was amazing, and I'm so thrilled to have it out finally. And I'm excited to move into the next book, which I actually haven't really announced yet, because it is a different book than I was planning on writing. I'm putting in another book into the Dark Victoriana collection, which keeps growing. So I'm really enjoying that. And I made a decision this year that I'm going to continue adding kind of as much as I want to the Dark Victoriana collection, whereas before I was thinking, okay, 5 books and that's it, and I'm moving on, and I was excited to move on. Now I'm sort of just happy to be in it and really devote most of my writing time to that. So that was kind of a big decision for me, which is nice.
I purposely asked that question first because I know that for each one of the people on this panel, something changed within the planning of 2017, whereas Christie became the host of The Writer's Edge in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And then Heidi, of course, joined our right side, and Kristina became the president of Sisters in Crime, and Josh started his RollCraft business, and also, started going out and venturing to cons for the first time this year. And Mickey brought on some traditional published authors and changed his business model a little bit. So with that being said, those were unexpected, I would imagine, for most of you. So how much of 2018 do you have planned out already, and how much do you purposely leave out for spontaneous things like what has happened to you this year? Are you prepared for that as well, that contingency, if need be?
Joe, with oh, go ahead, Heidi. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Mickey.
No, ladies first.
I was just gonna say I actually adopted a plan last year that I do kind of the skeletal structure of my plan for the year, but then I actually don't do a whole lot of detailed planning until the 90-day mark. And I do a 90-day year which fortunately worked really well for me, because when Amanda came to me and said, hey, we'd love for you to come on board our right side, here's what we're thinking, I was like, hey, good thing you caught me, because next week I was planning my 90-day year and this was not in it. So it was kind of perfect.
I guess, Joe, for myself, what I've already started doing, and I did this midway through this year, I guess, is I have about 6 to 8 book reviewers / bloggers I have an exclusive relationship with. In addition, I also have a couple of radio stations that all they're doing is interviewing creative edge authors. So I was proactive, and I maintain those relationships, and they've all agreed to do something similar this year. What I'm finding from the media aspect, though, is even on the print side, there's a lot of cutting back, even with mainstream print media. Whereas instead of having a staff of maybe 3 or 4 reporters, they're now down to 1 or 2, which makes it more challenging to cover stuff. And in fact, in Saskatchewan, there was a newspaper who has been around for 108 years. They closed their doors December 17th, I believe. So that's the kind of stuff that we're seeing from a spontaneous standpoint. In terms of planning, it's really hard to plan ahead too much, because I just never know what author I'm going to sign on a given week. I mean, it changes on a constant basis in terms of opportunities. But I believe that I'm more ready for next year than I was this year. So that's my feedback.
2017 was a lot of a balancing act and seeing how to exactly measure the scales so that I wasn't overwhelmed one way or another. And I feel like I've learned a lot, especially in the last 6 months. To be pretty frank, things kind of went to hell in 2017 about the time that summer hit. The kids got out of school, and I completely lost my way for 3 months and forgot what life was supposed to be like. And so now it's been a juggling act trying to figure that out again. So what I've looked at is kind of what Heidi's talking about. I have the next 90 days set on what it is I'm going to be doing. I have the next 90 days after that pretty tentative. But my thought is that really I'm probably going to plan the second part of 2018 as I'm nearing summer, coming up into April and May. And right now I'm not going to be too concerned about it because I don't know what's going to come up in the next 6 months. But I've learned to plan that way instead of just thinking I have the entire year planned out.
Yeah, I agree with the whole 90 days thing. I'm doing the same exact thing. I've got most things planned through probably March right now, and that includes editing where my spaces are, where there's no space, and that includes the writer's edge, where I already have it planned out in advance, which is really good. I find not quite a tangent, but almost, I find that if there's something that makes me nervous, if it's not planned, that I should just do it. And instead of procrastinating or anything and saying oh, but it's an easy thing, I'll wait until the time comes. I find if it makes me nervous, then I'm going to stay nervous and avoid doing other things too. And it's like a procrastination dominoes. So, I have found that seems to be an indicator. Okay, here are the things that you feel nervous about that you need to plan in advance, at least generally, if not more specifically. And here are the things that don't make me nervous that maybe I don't have to plan so much for. My writing doesn't make me nervous, and it kind of has to fit around everything else. And, especially since I'm doing historical fiction, I do have to think about the research and where that's going to fit in, when I'm going to have time to look at these books and these resources in depth and stuff. So, but that can be fit in when I see a free weekend or a free hour where I can just go to the library or something. So that's kind of how I do it. It's both in advance and on the fly.
And I'd have to mirror Christie's sentiments. With Sisters in Crime, there is a lot of planning involved because you're planning a monthly meeting with either a presenter or an event every single month for the whole year. So, you get together with the board of directors as well as the members, and you come up with that schedule. And we did that in December. We did, however, leave some room for just meetings without a presenter. And we did leave some room for open items where we could, pick. We have a few months where we don't want a meeting, we want a presenter, but we don't know who yet. Because this year was so, I'm a control freak and a planner. So when I got the position, I just planned everything everything down to like the last like detail, and it was almost too much. Like we had so much going on this year that everybody enjoyed it, but I feel like it was also overwhelming. It was like a contrast to what it had been before. So I kind of took a backseat a little bit and said, you know, we'll have some prepared presenters, and we'll also have some flexibility. So I'm learning to be flexible and adaptable, and especially with my writing, because, you know, just like Josh was saying, like I had a year where I had all these goals for writing, and I was beating myself up the whole year. Like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and, you know, what are you doing? And then, but I was reminding myself too, like that I have priorities and that they aren't always my writing. Like there are things that come up in life and, you know, things that have to be done and that you have to balance it, and it's okay. So about 3/4 of the way through the year, I stopped beating myself up and just said, you know what, you can only do what you can do. It's okay. And the things I did accomplish, I was proud of, and the things I didn't will get done in 2018. So I'm learning to be flexible and adaptable, but plan the important stuff. So because, you know, as we all know, you can plan as much as you want, but life happens and you just got to react to that. So
I'm curious to know from everybody here, when did they start planning for 2018? Was there a point in that you guys started thinking about it?
September.
See, now my answer looks bad.
Mine
say
too.
November.
Sorry, I'm a freak, but I was not just planning my schedule. I was planning our right side too. So we were sitting down and talking about all the things that we wanted to have happen in the first 90 days of 2018 and what we needed to do to make that happen. So
Yeah, usually right after Halloween is when I start planning.
For me, Joe, the answer would be it depends on the media outlet, because with some media outlets, I've planned a schedule from all the way through 2018, halfway through to 2019. Whereas with other media outlets, it's going to be very spontaneous. And so the planning I've done for next year, it's around different hats and different times of different people. I have asked all my writers that I need their book release dates way in advance so that I could promote them properly through Publishers Weekly, through my blogger aspects, radio station aspects, schedules, all of that. So it really depends on which outlet I'm looking at. I would say for planning 18, long answer, I guess, but I started probably in March this year, just based on specific people and what their needs are. So.
Did everybody answer your question? I don't think I heard your, Christy.
I agreed with Joshua. That's the exact same thing for me. I start planning in November, and it's usually there's like a big crunch at the end of October, what with Halloween, and there's always like a lot of stuff going on at that time, writing wise, planning, you know, video wise, stuff like that. So it's definitely easier to get started in November for me as well.
And I'm like October, November, I start thinking about January. And obviously for Sisters in Crime, it's we're thinking about the whole year. Right around December, we're making the decision. So you have to think about it, not like October, November timeframe.
And this was brought up in the chat earlier today, which was kind of funny. But I did have it actually written down as a question. And that is, did anything that happens with our world, like, for example, net neutrality, change anybody's perspective on planning for 2018? Or is it kind of a wait and see kind of thing, and you'll just deal with it as it comes?
it's definitely influencing some of my choices.
I'm definitely gonna have to wait and see what happens on my end. I guess as long as email is working, that would be nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like if something like YouTube was a problem, then I would be more in favor of like the Writer's Edge than I would maybe my personal YouTube channel. Maybe I'd focus more there, but definitely waiting and seeing how it goes.
Yeah, I have to say I've been watching that pretty closely from my end and looking at where I need to in terms of just marketing and online work. A lot of rumors going around about how Twitter and Facebook and other social media apps might be affected. I'm definitely focusing more on things to build my newsletter list in order to have access to email, because I haven't heard anything about email being affected. But yeah, it's definitely something to watch closely.
I think the key is it's not so much, I mean, I'm not scared. I know some people are scared because their whole marketing is based on online. I think this is just a key point to authors, that you need to make sure that you have a strong multi-pronged marketing approach, both online advertising, marketing, real world, and obviously e-newsletters, because nobody can take that away from you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I know that that's one thing that I talked about even with Lillian, is looking at us doing more cons and being out more, doing that type of thing, because we spend a lot of time online doing stuff in terms of preparation and marketing. And so it's getting out there and getting on foot and going to cons and talking to people that way, which I know we talked about this before the show, but we have somewhere close to, I don't know, 10 to 15 cons planned in the first few months going into 2018. And that was a big part of it, is because they were talking about the net neutrality thing back in May of this year. And we just didn't see people moving towards voting and contacting people. So we knew it was going to have to be something that we needed to do, is get out into cons and see people face to face.
Totally agree with you, Josh. I think that's why collaboration in this day and age is so important, and getting build main contacts, so that if we do lose some online media aspects, like Christy said, we still have email and we can still contact the key people we built relationships with and market that way, which is essentially what I've been doing all along with Creative Edge. So.
And I feel the same. I just think you can't predict how things are going to go exactly, and how it's going to affect us. And we just have to be adaptable and flexible as authors, and willing to shift and move and survive. I mean, that's what this is about. It's always going to be difficult to sell books and to reach people. I think this is part of the business, whether you're with a top 5 publisher or you're an indie author. And regardless of your fans, it's going to be difficult. And I think we have to, exactly like Heidi said, have a multi-pronged approach. I love to do things in person. I'm lucky, and Christy and I, where we live, we're lucky. The county where we live is there are a lot of people, and there are a lot of opportunities to meet with other writers and readers, and do book signings, and go to libraries, and do panels that are live that we tape. I mean, there's so many opportunities here. I feel very grateful. But obviously online is the main way we're reaching people. So I think our mindset is really important. And if we just keep that positive mindset that we're going to continue to do what we do, and we're going to, we're going to be adaptable and flexible and open to new things. I mean, with this, we never know what could come. Something different could come around the corner that helps us in some way. I mean, you can't always think of those things, but I think we'll all be fine. We'll make it work. We'll survive like we always do, but we have to be a little bit more flexible and open-minded.
I need to clone you, Kristina, so you can speak to all my authors.
I'm happy to do it.
Just show them this video and be like, hey, look, they all agree with her. Do you want to be successful?
I try. Right?
They're all good. Right. Yeah.
Life is tough. You got to hang in there,
Definitely. So, I mean, for the next year, how important is it for you all to raise the bar for your accomplishments from a year ago or 2 years ago? And how much are you looking to raise the bar? Do you have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan? Do you do it incrementally? What is one of your goals that you have set that you plan to hit that you didn't have beforehand?
Well, my good friend John Hartness got to have his books featured on The View this morning with Oprah Winfrey, and so that's a new goal.
I'm just going to jump in and say, my goals are general and specific. So in general, I want to make sure that I'm disciplined and focused with my writing. There are many things that are going to get in the way, new opportunities I'm going to take, things I'm going to have to say no to. But certainly I want to make sure that I, like Josh, I have a balanced year, and writing is important. Even if it's only an hour a day, I need to do it every day. And that focus and discipline is really important no matter what's going on. But on the other side, I also do want to be open to new opportunities, and I want to, you know, have my mind, you know, ready to accept something that might come my way. I can't, you know, I don't ever, I'm always afraid of failure. So I don't set my success too high, the bar too high, because I feel like if I do that and I don't make it, I'm going to get disappointed. But if I set some achievable goals, like, you know, writing every morning before my day job, and you know, hitting a word count, and doing those kinds of things, I think that'll be good. And when it comes to Sisters in Crime, I hold myself to a much higher standard. I feel like my goal is to add value, that I'm there to help motivate and inspire them in any way I can, even if, you know, there are more seasoned authors in the group. I feel like I'm, you know, I've been elected to do a job, and when I'm given a job, I really try to do it to the best of my ability. So with the Sisters in Crime, you know, I want to have a great year. I want to have an even more successful year. I want our membership to increase. I want our speakers to be on par, if not even better than this year, if that's possible. And I want people to feel like they got value from the membership. So when I'm accountable to others, I feel like I set the bar a heck of a lot higher than for myself. I give myself a little bit more leeway. But in terms of planning, and this is like I guess an easy way to look at it, I'm chasing the author that I am in 5 years from now. Like, I know what she looks like. I know how great she is. And I know I'm not there yet. So I'm chasing her. And that's with everything I do. I see her and I see what she's accomplished. And I'm really just trying to catch up with her. And hopefully by the time I get there, I'll be chasing, you know, the me 5 years from then. So it's just always kind of striving to do better, but knowing when to say no and not killing yourself in the process, which is the art of it all.
I think for me, oh, go ahead, Heidi, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Mickey. I went last time. You go now.
Okay, I'll give you that one. I think for me, it's stressing to the writers I represent, and there's well over 30, that communication and collaboration is key. I mean, I've been doing this since March of 2016, and we've done great things, but we can even push that bar even further by helping each other. And that's the goal I want to build on this year, is to talk with my people and show them that collaboration and communication is key, not only within the cells, but also within the media outlets that we're reaching out to and things like that. And I think overall, that's the kind of stuff that's going to pay larger dividends down the road, similar to an Oprah Winfrey opportunity or something like that. That's what I really want to do going forward. And I won't give up till we're there, whether it be 1 year or 5 years. That's the main focus, because once that's done, success will come for everybody.
And I completely agree with Mickey. That was one of the things that when I came into our right side, we started planning in September when I was officially a part of the group. And we sat down and wrote down our 1 year, 5 year, 10-year goals for the company. And one of the things that we were looking is we have this incredible community that we have built up together that's so loving and supporting, but they don't have a lot of direction. And so that's one of the things that we sat down to remediate, is to provide that direction, provide a good communication of where we want the company to go, and get people on board with that. And one of the things that we implemented this year is, or just this last week, is what's called Scrum. And it's a system of, well, it's a complicated thing. Read the book. It's amazing. But the idea is you list out all the things that you want to have done for a particular project. And then everybody works as a team to complete it. And because there's complete transparency and it's completely open, everybody knows what needs to be done, why they're doing what needs to be done, and when it's expected to be done. And because of that, we're going to be launching OWS University in February. So we're really excited about that, because that was something they didn't see happening for a while yet.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm really interested in that and watching it like develop and everything. I think it's really cool. I'll talk a lot about something that Kristina mentioned, actually, which is achievable goals. It's so important to have those. And I learned that lesson the hard way when I had planned to have like 5 books by 2019, starting in, 2015, something like that. And it was just it's not doable with a full-time job and editing business, everything that comes with it, and everything that comes with the writing itself. And so I found myself being very disappointed a lot, and it wasn't really anything I could help. So it is really important to really look at what's actually doable, have achievable goals, and then you can have like stretch goals where it's like, this is what I would love to be able to achieve, but I just don't know if it's realistic, but I hope, And then if you reach that, that's like, wow, celebration time, right? So that's one thing I do a lot. I do have a number of goals in my full-time job, so that's going to be a big thing for me. And I also am going to be very heavily focusing on my editing business, which I'm looking forward to. So the other thing is, with what I would do then is, like I said before, my writing sort of fits in around that stuff. So what I think is achievable is to put out a novella. I can do that. A full-length historical fiction novel might be too much. It could be a stretch goal. But a novella that I had already started is doable. So that's going to be my plan. And another thing I want to mention is that I'm going to be trying to write down. I have this calendar that I bought, and I'm going to be trying to write down in it every day what I have achieved. Like, even if it's a small thing, anything. It can be at work. It can be in my editing business. It can be with my writing. It can be whatever. And then when I have those things written down, first of all, I think we all tend to sort of discount a lot of stuff that we do as like not that big of a deal or not an achievement. Every day where we get stuff done is an achievement. And being able to look back at that and say, look at all I actually did do, I think that is super motivational, but it also allows you to reflect on like, okay, what was my time like? What could I fit into it? What's realistic? So I'm going to be trying to keep up with that. I don't think I've ever kept up with it. I've had the idea before, but now I'm like really trying to get into it. So I will report back on how that works.
That's actually a great idea. It's something that Tim Grahl teaches when he's talking about writing, is that you sit down, you do the work, and then you celebrate the work. Even if it's just writing 500 words a day before you get to the book, so that you're celebrating your efforts every single day. And then celebrate when the book comes out. So many of us, we go through the launch process, and by the time it's done, we don't feel like celebrating because we're just completely burned out and exhausted. Celebrate every day, every accomplishment that you achieve, even if it seems like it's super small, because that's one step closer to your dreams. Yeah.
I guess just one more thing to add, Joe, if I can.
Sure.
Since my joke was more of an answer, and yes, I know it was Whoopi Goldberg. Sorry that I misspoke. So one of the things that I think there's a lot of pressure coming into a new year and setting goals, and then having all this energy set up to meet those goals, and then possibly falling short of those within a couple of weeks, which we see people do with everything from, dieting to telling their mother-in-law off to whatever it is that they want to do in the new year. And I think it's really important that going into it, that you recognize whatever it is that you want to achieve really comes down to a routine, and sticking to that routine and saying no to the things that you're not achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve. And I know even for myself, that's something I struggle with. There's certain things I really like to go do, and I'm like, oh, I'll just go do this for an hour, or oh, I'll just put that off until tomorrow, into a week, which turns into a month, and I don't ever accomplish that. And so for everything that I want to do in the next year, whether it's finishing a series or putting together a box set or making new connections with people in the writing world to help excel my career, I know that a lot of it's going to come down to me saying no to a lot of things. If it's not myself, then it's going to be to other people, so I can really focus on getting where it is that I need to go to, because I know a lot of these people on this panel too, and all of us have a hard time saying no. And so I think that's going to be necessary.
I deny that, Josh. I have no problem saying no as I sign on to a company to help publish things. Yeah, no.
So does anybody care, without maybe getting into specifics, to share something from 2017 that didn't work for them, that they will not be repeating in 2018? You don't have to call anybody out or say, if you, oh, I went to a bad con or something, but something that maybe reflect.
I got a big one, Joe. We're closing down the Crimson Edge Press. That's a big change for me as we walk away from having the small press in the traditional style and having the authors on that were with us. We've slowly and the different elements that were joined with that or joined with that as I move forward and just making that my own imprint and moving forward in my own writing career. That was a huge decision to make. It wasn't an easy one. I battled with it for months on whether or not it was something that I could do, but it came down to I just did not have the time or the energy, and I was not giving authors what they needed in order to make themselves shine. And so it was stepping outside of that. And
Go ahead, Christy.
Okay. One thing I had been doing for quite a while, not just this year, but I just stopped doing this year, is I had been really sort of like allowing, you know how you can have a full-time job that you maybe enjoy, but you tend to hate on it because it gets in your way. So you're just sort of like, even if it's a good job, you're just sort of like, ugh, I can't, like, I'm so upset, and you tend, like, at least I would tend to like have a lot of negative feelings towards it, even if it was going well, even if I was actually happy with the work I was doing. And, some of us are really lucky and can do the whole writing full time. Joshua, I've watched your career grow and it makes me so happy. And, some of us have full-time jobs and, we can enjoy them too. And that's the thing that's like, it's really tough because you sort of automatically go into that mode of like, but I want to do this, but I want to do that, and this is getting in the way. So one of the things that I stopped doing this year was hating on my job, and I started to really enjoy it and allow myself to enjoy it because I was enjoying it, but I had that whole thing going on. So sort of taking that conflict out has made me way more productive, and that's something I'm going to continue. But I just want to encourage anyone out there that even if you really don't like your job, like there's probably something you could find positive about it, but also, let yourself try to enjoy it. It's probably better than you think it is. It's kind of a funny thing to like realize that after a time, but it seems like simple, but it's not that simple, and it makes a really big difference to your motivation and inspiration level.
And I'm just going to chime in right on your heels, Christy, because I am 100%, in your camp there. I am very, very grateful to have a wonderful day job. I'm a senior director of human resources and publishing, and so I manage, the intranet, and for our company websites, as well as the entire HR department. So I have a really great job, but my heart is in writing. That's what I want to do, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to make writing my primary source of income. And because of that, yes, I go drive my hour and a half each way to work, and I get stressed out at work and overwhelmed, and I don't enjoy the value I'm adding, the things I'm doing that I'm good at, that I have a great job, and I have to be grateful for. And one day, I believe, I will be able to make that transition. It isn't today, and that's okay. And I think to put my energy on a positive note into what I do, no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm writing or I'm at my day job or I'm at Sisters in Crime or I'm pursuing some educational opportunity, which I always am. I'm going on for another certificate next year, and that will help me both in life and at work. But these are all things that I love. So, no matter what it is, as long as you're happy doing it, make the best of it. But on the flip side of that, and in contrast to that, I will say I'm a incurable workaholic. It is not healthy. It is not, what I want to continue to do. So I've learned this year a little bit to relax, and it sounds so silly, but I've had to actually plan to relax, like putting it in my schedule. And it's really very great. It's a good for you. Like I'm learning how to like just sit back and watch the wood burning stove, like with a glass of wine, or, you know, just enjoy a movie and not think about work. So not being a workaholic, but when I am working, enjoying what I'm doing, I think those are mindset things that I'm going to absolutely, you know, do exactly what you're saying, Christie, and following your path in 2018, because it makes everything we do so much more enjoyable.
I think for me, Joe, what happened this year is talking about not saying no. And there have been a couple of author interviews where I've signed clients that it didn't feel right, probably in both our minds, but we still tried to make that relationship work. And at the end of the day, it ultimately didn't work. And so there was learnings there be around that. Either that person's vision and what my vision was for promoting their works didn't match. And so it ultimately split up in that aspect. And so I've now learned to give a more detailed aspect of what I'm doing for 2018, so that there are no false expectations or minimal expectations of what I'm doing. So everybody's clear on how that whole vision should work for both of us. If that makes sense.
Makes total sense. Absolutely. So we had a question from the chat and from Rebekah Jonesy. She wanted to know, how do you set up your schedule for an entire year? Is it with goals, set deadlines? What do you guys use as markers for setting up the schedule?
I'll answer that first, Joe, if you want. Sorry, Josh, go ahead. Was I going to cut you off?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I typically use my author's book releases to set up my schedule. So if I know that there's going to be 4 books being released in July of next year by 4 different people, obviously, I know I'm going to have to be more inventive on my media piece, because I can't reach out to CTV on all 4 of those authors in the same week and say, can you interview this person? So I'm really setting up my schedule based on what my clients tell me, and then we're marketing accordingly.
So in my case, I have a couple of different systems that I do. One is I list all the things I want to do, and then I pick the 5 that are most important. And then during my 90 days when I'm planning, I pick 3 things that'll work towards those goals. And that's how I set that up. And I do that all in Google Doc that I make pretty and I print out, so that I have it on my desk to remind me what I'm working towards.
I probably do a mix of different things. I do essentially make goals of things that I want to achieve. Usually goals of things I want to achieve, I don't set deadlines for, because they're the things, like if I get around to it, that's the thing that I'm going to work on. But I do set deadlines for stuff too. And one of the things that I do, and I see a lot of places advise for people to do this, but honestly, it may be too stressful for some, but I always set a deadline for what I want to do, and then I tell somebody I'm going to do it. I make it public that that's when it's going to be done by, because then I'm pushed to make sure that it's done by then. And I always work pretty well underneath that stress. And then outside of that, I carry around this big thing with all my dates of what I'm doing all the time. I have to have a paper one in my hand. Every event I go to, I print off the paper and I staple it to the day that I have to go and do that event. I check it every week. I check it in the morning, and I make a to-do list so that I have whatever is needing to be done right there in front of me all the time.
That notebook made me so happy. I'm a project manager, and oh my God, yeah. That makes me so happy, that kind of organization. Yeah, if you have a business where you can track exactly or approximately when you have peaks in the amount of work that you have, then that can help you sort of figure where can everything fit around it, and then you've got a better idea of how you can plan your year. But of course, you can also plan milestones by, you know, the end of quarter 1, by the end of quarter 2, that kind of stuff. And if you want to set like it depends on how much you want to, how general you want to be, how specific you want to be, but you could say a certain amount of words. Like if you're one of those people who tends to want to write one thing but end up writing another, don't let yourself be disappointed in that. Instead, set maybe a word count goal. That might be better for you, because then you can be happy with and proud of everything that you have accomplished instead of focusing on, I didn't write on this one particular thing. But yeah, just sort of watching the patterns that you have seen before, whether it is a business or you can do that with life. Sometimes, you know, when there are a lot of, I don't know, birthdays and holidays and when is busiest for work for you and things like that. And you can start like sort of maybe like marking those days or months or whatever in a way that you can tell, okay, this is the time I don't expect as much out of writing or you know, something else. And these are the times when I would expect that I could. So that's like a good general way to plan as well, so that you don't like tie yourself down to anything if that's difficult for you.
I just want to know from Christie, does she have do you pick a specific notebook when you go notebook shopping, journal shopping, that you're going to go, oh, this is going to be my planner for next year?
Yeah, actually I do. I sort of think like, okay, what's the vibe I'm going for, you know, for next year? What am I feeling like next year? I wish I had it here. It's not by me, but anyway, it's this really like pretty sort of, it has like a drawing on it that's kind of like a sketch, and it has like black and gold on it, and it's super pretty, but it's also like, you know, for me, everything is a metaphor. So it would be like sketching out everything and having like the vague goals and stuff like that planned and things that I know I can do. And then like we get into the details on the inside. So I saw it and I was like, that's me, you know? So I was very excited about that. I do get like super excited about notebooks and planners and stuff.
I was going to say we're well overdue for a new shopping session on YouTube from you.
Yes, I should do that. Yeah, that would be awesome.
So as far anybody else want to chime in? I'm sorry. Did we cover that? Everybody good with what they said? Anybody have anything else they want to add? Okay. So what about social media? How much planning do you do with social media? Are you guys looking at specific applications that you haven't used and deciding, you know, maybe 2018 might be the year that I go ahead and put more effort into that particular application? Or is there ones that you're paring down that you feel like, you know what, I need to focus elsewhere and, you know, kind of, it didn't work out for me here, so I'm going to try something else? Well, where's everybody's approach when it comes to social media and planning?
Oh, you just made me cry, Joe. No, I actually kind of, after I joined Our Right Side, my YouTube channel kind of died. Just everything being busy, but I do want to bring that back because I was getting really good engagement on it, and it's something that I do want to do. So that's one of the things that I'm making sure to schedule time in so that it gets done. But I think I had too much planned for it. I was doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos, and then if I couldn't do it all, I wasn't going to do any of it. And then it just kind of fell off the wagon. But yes, Amanda, I am going to say Promo Republic is a thing that Amanda introduced me to. It's a great social media scheduler tool that I have been thoroughly enjoying because it allows me to schedule on all of my channels so I don't have to feel like I'm neglecting everything anymore. So I'm really excited to use that. It's really convenient.
That would probably be really good for me because one thing that happens to me is if there's too much going on with all of this stuff, just like we all have a ton of stuff going on, if there's too much going on, I tend to just totally forget about some social media stuff, especially Facebook and sometimes Instagram. That happened to me towards the end of this year, maybe starting in like September, October. And it was disappointing to me. I definitely noticed my engagement drop. It's like, you miss one day and people are like, forget it. I don't care anymore. It's kind of funny that way, but it is something that I've noticed for sure. So planning ahead more with things like Facebook posts. I need to take my own advice a little bit more because I had discovered that when I would, on the weekend, take the time to set up the week's Facebook posts, that was much better for me. And then I just started like forgetting to do that. So what do I need to do? Set more reminders. That's what I need to do. So I'm definitely going to start doing things like that and gathering that stuff when I do have some spare time, and you know, being ready instead of just trying to do things as they come along or as I remember them.
You definitely want Promo Republic, because one of the things I love about it is it allows you to connect Instagram too. And then it sends a reminder to your phone so that you can send it. So you'll have to be, you know, you want to schedule it so that it's not like when you're going to be in a meeting. But even if you can't post it at that time, you can turn around and post it whenever you're done with that meeting. It's right there, and it's easy to plug in the keywords that you need and everything. So the hashtags, it's awesome.
I'm going to check that out. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna chime in on what Christie said as well. I'm really terrible about this, but I'm really bad about planning ahead, and also when I start scheduling and then I stop scheduling and I start scheduling. So that just doesn't work for me. I feel like when I schedule things, I feel like I need to be responsive, and I can't during the day, and then I'm stressed out and I'm checking social media, and it's just, for me, it creates more anxiety. So what I do and what I want to do more consistently is taking some time at night when I'm home from work, after dinner, before bed, which is probably like a half hour of my life, and just sitting down and going through all of the social media. I really am only at this point hanging out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. However, I want to do more video, and certainly YouTube, but that will probably be more for the weekends. But I'm thinking just, you know, kind of chime in with whatever is relevant and be able to be responsive for that time being. I get distracted if I have things out there during the day and I know I can't get to them, and then I feel bad. So I just don't have the ability to do that during the day as much. So yeah, I mean, I think it's finding a balance with whatever works for you and your schedule. And it makes me feel good to know, like, I have an hour or half hour slotted for that. And I just want to be more consistent with that. But yeah, just being present, and video for me certainly is a better way to connect. And that's important to me, just connecting with readers and fellow writers.
Just echoing a little bit of what Kristina is saying, because I've been trying to get better at this, and I've actually watched Christie do this. And so it's something that I'm trying to essentially model after what I see her do, I guess, from my end as a receiver. But it seems she's like really good at scheduling time to respond to emails and respond to messages. And I myself am really quick to want to answer every tweet or message or whatever happens immediately when it happens. Excuse me. And so I'm trying to get better at that, where I'm actually going to have time scheduled during every day, like noon to 1 is when I get on social media and I talk to people, and I do not get on it otherwise besides that. I don't answer emails otherwise besides that. And that may drive a lot of people crazy, but it's going to give me some peace of mind. Maybe it'll make other people plan better than just contacting me immediately and saying, go do this. Because I kid you not, sometimes I get a message and like, hey, Josh, we had somebody fall out. Can you get on in 10 minutes? And I shouldn't be required, I guess, to jump at those types of opportunities or jump to do those types of things. It's just too stressful for me. So planning social media wise for me, I think on a day-to-day and not feeling so eager to respond to people is going to be really necessary for me. Another site that I use, I don't know if everyone uses this one, it's the IFTTT site, if triple T. I use that one too, which helps me schedule things. It like allows Instagram photos to go straight to Twitter instead of me having to put the picture on Twitter and stuff like that too. And so I've been using that one more, which has helped me with some streamlining. Found that all my social media kind of plummeted at the end of the year. I stopped being on Instagram so much. I stopped being on Twitter so much. Even Facebook I had a hard time with. I know in 2018 my primary focus is probably going to be video stuff on Facebook and on Instagram, because I see that has really good engagement and it's a better way for me to communicate as well.
And Josh, you're absolutely right to tell people that ask you at the last minute to do stuff. No.
Oh, I know, but I won't. So it's just better
You
if I
need to.
say, sorry, I didn't get your message, because I don't check it until 1 o'clock on Tuesday.
There you go. That works too. But no, I actually, I had a PA message me about an author's event 8 hours before the event started, asking me to take the 5 a.m. slot. And I was like,
No.
You do realize that 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is 3 a.m. my time. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And they're like, are you sure you don't want the spot? Yep, I'm positive.
Who who's going to be up at 3 a.m. on a Facebook takeover party? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. And why would I get up at 3 a.m. to do your takeover party when you didn't think of me until the night before?
Yeah.
No, that's okay. I'm obviously not that important to you. Thanks.
Totally agree with you, Heidi. I mean, in terms of social media aspects, a lot of my authors, I book their stuff, but they typically post most of it themselves, and then I just share it. That's been the agreement. Having said that, though, I've been busy scheduling interviews, guest posts, book reviews all throughout the entire year with all of my key contacts, some of which are actually on this panel, so they know what I'm talking about. And that aspect has really, really worked from a social media point, because now those reviewers and those bloggers, they know what's coming up because it's well set in advance. And I want to keep building on that going forward. I'm actually starting to leverage more top 50 bloggers because of those scheduling aspects, and it's been way more effective than when I started. So it's going to continue in that aspect.
And I just got put in my place a little bit by Amanda over there in the chat saying, well, Insomniacs need books too. I guess that's true. Insomniacs do need books too, but still 3 a.m. If I'm up at 3 a.m., I'm writing. Forget about going to a Facebook takeover party. That just doesn't make any sense. But
if I'm up at 3 a.m., it's because I'm on my way to bed after writing all night. Yes, I agree.
Why it's so important to know time zones.
That too, yeah. I mean, and to be fair too, for certain aspects of that idea for the 3 a.m. thing, we also have friends that we all have mutual friends who live in Israel and live in Australia and live. So maybe for them that's a benefit, but they don't. I know my friends don't frequent those kind of parties very often anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But you have to know your audience, right? So, if they're doing that, then yeah, maybe then I would get up at 3 a.m. to make sure that I get a chance to talk to them. But otherwise, so in closing, I want to put all of you on the spot because you guys are all awesome. You're fantastic, and so I want you all to promise me one thing, that we come back in a year's time and do this panel all over again, all 5 of us, the same topic, and we'll talk about 2019. But for this, I am requiring a payment. And that payment is you're going to predict something you are going to accomplish in 2018. And then we're going to see how close you were to accomplishing that goal. So I want to just open it up. Don't be shy. Throw it out there. Tell us one thing you're going to do.
I already have this one. I am going to rock the book world. That is my self-affirmation every day. So I'm going to do it.
I can go next. I am absolutely thrilled to come again next year, Joe. I'm always happy to come to GoIndieNow. You guys are wonderful here. One of the things that I want to do, which I'm already kind of getting a head start on, and this may seem a bit outlandish, but it is my goal to attend 40 cons in 2018.
It's not outlandish. That's the way you are. You always are like, bam, Gyra. I expect no less stuff.
Bam. I raise you 50.
For me, I'm going to make the goal of finishing the novella that I said I would finish during NaNoWriMo, so it really is a challenge for me. I'm going to finish that novella and publish it next year. And Joe, I have until the time of this panel, okay? If it's the day before, I win, okay?
You do. I'll give you that.
Joe, I'll be glad to come back next year, of course. Goals-wise, I'm hoping to get at least 4 authors on a television interview, at least 6 on a radio interview, and at least 10 in print interview in some way, shape, or form. That's what my goal will be for this.
Okay, I'm going to jump on. I'll absolutely be back. You know I will. And I have too many goals, but what I will commit to is publishing my sci-fi thriller, which I swore I was going to have out by the end of the year, but it will be published by the first quarter of 2018, no matter what I need to do to get that done. And I also want to commit to a goal that is kind of is separate from my suspense work, but I want to commit to publishing a nonfiction book, and I want to make sure that I'm following up on that with video, and it's going to be more geared toward inspiration, motivation, leadership, the things that I do on a day-to-day basis, the things that I feel very comfortable with, and I want to be able to add value not just at work every day, but out in the world. So that's something that's really important to me. Going for an executive coaching and leadership certificate this year, which I'll have by the end of the year. And so I'm going to use some of that knowledge as well as my day-to-day stuff to just get some motivation out there into the world, some inspiration. So really important to get that nonfiction book going. And the sci-fi thriller, and that's the others I won't say because who knows if they'll happen or not, but I'll commit to those 2 things.
Very nice. And it wouldn't be fair if I didn't throw something out there. I think you all played it safe, but I'm not going to call you out on it. I'm going to let you all have your moment and just let you all, although I do think 40 cons is, wow, that's crazy. But, you know, we all expected Josh to aim high. So that's nothing new. But I'm right there with you, Josh. Before 2018 is over, everybody who's watching now and watching on this panel will see Mark Coker will be my guest on one of my shows. That is my prediction for 2018. I'm going to have the man who created Smashwords on my show. And so Mark Coker, if you're listening, if you hear this, everybody tweet to him, get him on the show. Come on, bud. We've had this conversation. Now's the time. Let's do it. Let's sit down, have a conversation. I'll do it live. I'll do it any way he wants to do it. If he wants final cut, that's fine. Whatever. He is going to be appearing on GoIndieNow before 2018 is over. And I'm not talking about stalker video. I'm not going to follow him with a camera and go, "Hey, Mark, what do you think about this?" I'm talking about actually sitting down with me and having a conversation. So, all right, Mark Coker, the ball's in your court, bud. If I don't accomplish this goal, that's on you, not on me. But okay, it's on me a little bit, but it's not on me all the way. So yes, and I copped out and made somebody else responsible for my own goal in 2018. Yes, I just did that. But no, obviously to have my sequel out is another big accomplishment for me this coming 2018. And I know there's a few people who are out there with pitchforks if I don't do that and ready to set me on fire if that doesn't happen. So I will definitely make that a priority, and that's going to happen. So but before we go, I want to let everybody give an opportunity to say goodbye and, tell everybody where they can find you. This was an absolutely awesome panel like I knew it would be. You guys were fantastic. Thank you so much for being here and doing this. And I'm going to go left to right this time. So, Christie, you're up first.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me, Joe. This was awesome. And now I have to publish that novella, so I'm glad you held me accountable. You can find me at ChristieStratos.com. You can also find me, of course, on YouTube, Christie Stratos. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, a number of other places. Of course, definitely check out the Writer's Edge show. Joe, GoIndieNow, and the Writer's Edge often do like shows back to back on Thursday and then on Friday, which I know Joe keeps saying he didn't plan and he didn't, but I keep telling him I really like that. So I wish you would plan it that way because it's great. So anyway, thank you so much for having me. I really had a great time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Christy. And can I announce what we talked about at the last time that we spoke about what's happening in January? Because I will be in Park City, Utah, in January. I had asked Christie Stratos to step in for me. She's going to be hosting This Week in Indies at the end of January. She's going to do it live like we did in December earlier this month, actually. Well, actually, it was last month. Well, it's kind of like the 30th, wasn't it? It was like November 30th. But anyway, so Christie Stratos is going to be doing that for me. I'm real excited about that, and you might get a little pop in from me over there in Park City. We'll see. Maybe I'll go to Heidi's and we'll pop in together. All right, Heidi, go for it. Tell everybody where they can find you.
I am Heidi Angell, and I am all over the internet as either Heidi Angell with 2 L's, because I'm not that kind of an angel, or you can find me under An Angel's Life of Bookish Goodness. I'm also with Our Right Side, and the link is there in my little descriptor thingy, and you can find everything that Our Right Side is doing from that main page. We've got tons of awesome stuff coming up, including the very first Author University, OWSU, launches in February. So you definitely want to sign up for those awesome classes. And thank you so much for having me on the show. Every time I'm on here, I love it. And I can't wait to see you in January. Okay, I'm done.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome. Thank you, Heidi, for being here. I really appreciate it. All right, Josh, go for it, bud.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Joshua Robertson. You may have heard me say a few words in the past hour or so. I am very happy to be here on GoIndieNow. It's been a lot of fun here with Joe. If you want to find me online, you can go to robertsonwrites.com. That's RobertsonWrites. All my connections are right there on the page, from my newsletter to Twitter to my private Facebook group, where I do live readings and Q&As every Wednesday night. By all means, come and check me out. Come talk to me. Send me a message. And if it's within the allotted time I'm scheduling in 2018, I will respond back to you eventually.
So between the hours of 12 noon and 1 p.m. Eastern, you said, Josh, you'll be on Facebook? So everybody...
Yeah, noon of, one day to 1 p.m. the next, probably. That's probably what happened.
So if you need to get a hold of Josh, and by the way, you can delete you said you had like 20 instant messages you needed. You can delete the 10 that I sent you.
You have high priority, Joe. I always read your messages.
That's so sweet. Thank you, sir. All right, Kristina.
I am Kristina Rienzi, and I can be found at KristinaRienzi.com. Everything is there. All my links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, my newsletter, my private Facebook group, as well as my YouTube. And certainly, if you are a crime writer of any stripe, please feel free to check out Sisters in Crime, the national organization. And if you're a New Jersey crime writer, Sisters in Crime Central Jersey is where my chapter, where I'm the president, and we have sisters and misters and all ages and different genres in the mystery genre. So it's a wonderful organization with a lot of resources. So I encourage you to reach out and check that out. And thank you so much, Joe. It's been such a pleasure working with you this year on GoIndieNow and all the panels and all of you guys. I'm just honored to always be asked back, and I truly appreciate. I learned so much, and I love being here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You were awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all that you do. And for people that don't know, Kristina actually jumped into a panel like a day with a day's notice for me. I couldn't have been more grateful for that. That was pretty awesome. And she's amazing. Go check out Sisters in Crime for sure, and everything she does for sure. All right, Mickey.
Again, Joe, thanks for having me on this panel. I'm truly honored to be a part of this, and everybody who joined in. I'm Mickey Mikkelson. I'm the owner / publicist of Creative Edge. My website is www.creativeedgepublicity.com. All my links are there. All of my clients are represented there. When you click on a face, it'll bring up their website as well. All my third-party collaborations are there. Virtually everything that you would need to see about me, it's all right on my website. So
I'm really thankful to Mickey's wife and daughter for allowing us to have this time with Mickey too, and he's out there braving the cold and then doing his Christmas thing out there. So thanks. I was super honored that he made a point to come and do this with us, because it meant the world to me. So thank you, Mickey. I really appreciate it. You are one of my newest friends, so I'm really grateful for you this year. So thank you, my friend.
Well, thanks.
Rebekah Jonesy wanted to ask a question of you, Kristina, real quick. She said that you're allowing guys into Sisters of Crime as well, right?
Yep, there's men, there's women, there's, like I said, all ages, all genres. It was the Sisters in Crime organization was started by women crime writers back in the 80s as a result of some inability for women to get published in the mystery genre. And so it was started by women, but now it is a global organization accepting all genders, all ages, all genres in mystery, from cozy to noir to even thriller, suspense, and anyone who's interested in crime and mystery writing. So absolutely, all are welcome.
Outstanding. Well, I just wanted to say thank you again to my amazing panel. You guys were awesome. You all stepped in this year and helped me out tremendously and make this a great success. Thank you to the amazing live chatters out there. You guys come in droves, and you come and you hang out with us, and you guys ask great questions and are such a great part of our show. And I'm so blessed to know all of you and have you all out there. And it's been a great year. 2018 is going to be even better. Go out there and make things happen, and you'll see me out and about more this year than this coming year than any other year. And you know, all I gotta say, it's always time to go indie now, right? So 2017, goodbye and good luck. 2018, here we come. All right.